Good evening, everybody. I'm Brimstone here, and I'm joined by Asa Pyrite, and we've got Fraser here, of course. And thank you for joining us for CCSW week number 8 here, European edition. We've got an exciting night lined up. So first off, Ace, welcome to the show here. How are you feeling about joining us here? Are you excited?
Yeah, very excited. As you know, I've done a lot of CCS before. It holds a very special place for me. I absolutely love CCS. And to get involved in the Women's League here is going to be a lot of fun. I've been watching it along the way. And I put on Twitter the other day, one of my good friends, Shishka, is part of the league. So it's an extra pleasure for me to get to cast her as well.
That's awesome. And Fraser, welcome back again, here for a second week in a row. We're excited to have you. How did you feel about last week?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of very intense games then. Hopefully, we're going to have a repeat of last week. I'm looking forward to it. I think some solid games lined up. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, speaking of games lined up, let's take a quick look at the schedule here. We'll run you through the evening and what we can expect. So for the first match for the evening, we've got Team Queen. They'll be going up against Spies. This is probably going to be one of the top matchups of the night. It's the first team versus the second team. And then moving on, we'll have Hellside versus Endpoint. After that, Titanium Cloud Esports versus Penta Divina Victoria. And then B Titans finishing off playing Sphinx. And of course, after that, we'll have North Sea Gaming versus SMS Athena. That'll be the off-stream match that you can pick up on later on YouTube. So this first matchup here, Queen versus Spies. Fraser, you saw both teams play last week. What are you looking forward to see from these two teams? What is it going to take to come out victorious here?
Well, I mean, both of these teams are fairly flexible with how they play. They've been very adaptable to the situation at hand. So I imagine we're probably going to see some interesting operator bans out here. Not too sure about the map. I'm curious to see what they're going to play out here.
Now, do you think, I'll throw this over to you, Ace. Do you think there's a certain map that either both these teams are going to want to play or not play, or maybe one will try to get and the other one will try to get another? Any predictions there?
I think realistically, looking at the two teams coming into it, and obviously the performances for so far, Spies for me are going to be looking to get onto a map that's not too strat heavy. We've seen how good Team Queen are, yet to drop a game, only dropped 5 rounds throughout the tournament so far. They really are sort of head and shoulders above the rest at this point in time. They really are stretching the legs and starting to do some damage. So maps like that where there's a lot of strat involved, a lot of preparation, that's something that we know Team Queen have got. They've been playing together for a long time, so they're very prepared for that sort of environment. I think you're probably better off. To be honest, it's pick your poison. You take them to a map that's more gunfights, more like border where you just know what to expect and you can take your gunfights, maybe coastline. Then you've got to go up against the gun skill of these girls, which is fantastic as well. So one way or another, it's going to be a tough night for Spies, I think, wherever they end up.
Definitely. Let's take a look at the rosters of these two teams now, and we can get an idea of who will be watching tonight. First off, we're going to have Team Queen featuring, as you said, this is your friend here, Shishka. Is that correct?
Yeah, Shishka. She's a fellow star player. Yeah, I spent a week or so with her earlier this year. Nice. She's good fun.
Yeah. So Shishka, Mia, Shadow, Kitty, and Luna, as we say every week, an all-star lineup there. And they'll be going up against another big name lineup in Spies with Alice, Novo, Miax, Pigeon, and Valkia. Valkia, of course, is Pascal in game. And once again, just another all-star lineup there. Pascal, Valkia, and Pigeon both having big weeks last week for Spies. And of course, Luna having a big week last week for Queen. They did face their toughest competition yet in Penta Divina, who actually took 4 rounds off of them. That's the highest that any team has gone off of them. But once again, Team Queen coming out on top because of all those names. They just work so well collectively as a team. They're just very difficult to play against, but I think this will prove to be a good matchup here. Are you guys ready for the map bans? Do you think we can take that away here?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, sorry, just before that, we are going to go actually into the standings after last week and just talk about that really quick. Of course, we've got Team Queen in that first spot. They are undefeated, 7-0. They are plus 40 at the moment in rounds, just a huge round differential. Next up, who they'll be facing Team Spies. They are 6-1 with a plus 22 round differential. Nothing to scoff at either. Followed up by North Sea Gaming in third, Endpoint fourth. And then on the outside looking in, we've got Samsung Morningstar's Athena coming in at 5th. B Titans at 6th, Hellside Esports at 7th, Titanium Cloud Esports at 8th, and Pentadivina and Sphinx rounding out the 9th and 10th, and they are mathematically out of it at this point. They will not be able to make it into that final cut. So, we're really starting to get an idea shaping up. We're in week 8 now. There's just 2 weeks left to go, and teams are already kind of getting pushed out, and this will be the week that'll actually, I believe, decide a lot for a lot of these teams whether they're going to make it into the finals. Now, where do you see things shaping up here, Fraser? Do you think, what's your prediction for the 4 making it in?
Well, I mean, Team Queen have been, as kind of predicted here, they played 6 games. Or correction, they played 6 on stream, and they've won 6 on stream. I think that's not too much of a surprise. And obviously, Gaming, very, very competent team. They know what they're doing. They get it done most of the games. And I'm excited to see how they're going to play off stream. Spies, I think they've probably got the closest game today out of them and Team Queen. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Now we are ready now for the map bans. Finally, sorry to get you guys going for that there, but we are all set. Boys, please take it away.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at where we will be throwing down today. We obviously, as I've said, it's going to be an important one for Spies. Is this? I'm sure that Queen as well will be looking for maybe something for them. I think it benefits them to go somewhere a bit more complicated. Something like a Villa, something that's a bit strat heavy. But we'll see how that plays out. What do you think, Fraser?
Yeah, well, I mean, both teams, they're very flexible. I don't think any of them would be too inclined to play any technically challenging maps at the minute. I think they're probably going to focus on a bit more of a balanced map at the minute. I doubt they'll probably play Bank. To be honest, I think Bank, Cafe, Villa, they're probably going to be out of it immediately.
Yep, so we'll just wait for those first bans to come along. They will start coming in any second now, I'm sure. As I've said, it's always interesting to see where we go. What's your favourite to see, Fraser? Where do you particularly enjoy seeing?
I mean, so far, over the past couple of weeks, we have seen a lot of coastline. So to be honest, I kind of hope that they take away from that map from now. Hopefully we'll play something else a bit more exciting, potentially something like a border or a clubhouse. Yeah.
I love Border. There's been a lot of criticism towards Border lately that it's a bit boring, a bit stale. I've seen some really good games coming out on Border, so I really enjoy it. I was just about to follow up and say a lot of people who hear me cast regularly will know that one of my favourites is Consulate, but we've just seen that drop out of the question, so we're not going to be heading there. We've got Cafe banned out as well. Spies comes in with the Border ban and Queen with the Bank ban. That's a little bit of a surprise for me from Spies. I'd have thought maybe Border is one that could have suited them there, because as I say, preparation and strategy wise, you sort of know what to expect. There's no big surprises there. So that would have been interested. But as I say, that one's gone. Bank as well. Bank's always a funny one. I love the Rome game on Bank. I do, you've got those 3 staircases. There's so much movement available. Clubhouse coming out as the final ban for Queen there. So we're just waiting on the Spies ban, which is Villa. And there we go. As I suggested, I think Spies just steering us towards a bit of a gunfight map there. We're going to be heading to Coastline, Fraser.
It's actually kind of a surprise there. I mean, Bank is one of Spies' top banned maps. Honestly, I would have expected them to ban it. So the fact that Team Queen have preempted that, potentially they could have used that ban on something else. But, Coastline, it's a fun map. It's an aggressive map. I think it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams are going to be playing here. Hopefully, we're going to see quite a fair bit of Rome game here. And yeah, let's bring it on.
Yeah, I think the Rome game on Coastline can be very valuable. I think you've got to be very careful with it because ultimately you've got that courtyard that you can use to at least drop down. So it does give you some rotation from an upstairs Rome to be able to move down quite quickly. But with there only being 2 staircases, you've got to be really careful about getting caught out because they're quite easy to keep locked down on a flank watch. If you get yourself some top floor control and you get a Nomad, I know Shishka particularly likes to play the Nomad. If you get that in there and get those air jabs out on the staircases, you can cover both of them quite easily, and it does give you a bit of freedom to avoid those roamers moving back upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see which team is going to be a bit more effective with their own clearance. I mean, moving on to the ban phase, Team Queen starting off first. What are you expecting here?
I'm expecting to see, if I was Spies, I'd maybe be looking to close the roam game down a bit. So maybe I'd be wanting to leave operators like Nomad, like Jackal. It could hurt them, but they're on attack to begin with. So having the use of those and being able to shut down that roam game is going to be valuable to them. So I would expect to maybe see those left in where Queen, they could potentially take one or two of those out to allow them to get out on the roam. Capitao coming in there, no major surprises from Spies there. As I say, not taking any Jackal, Nomad, or anything like that off the board. If I were Queen here, I'd be looking at possibly Jackal off the board. I know they've got Shishka who likes to take Nomad, but just to free them up on the roam a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's not too much of a surprise. Capitao being their most ban attacker so far, Blackbeard coming out as well. Again, not too much of a surprise. It's a really good operator, especially for a map like Cosine. There's long sight angles. It's incredibly valuable in holding that angle, holding point. And yeah, Valkyrie also coming out by Spies.
Blackbeard can be a nightmare to play against. Let's be honest. There's a couple of double windows that you can get him onto on Coastline, both in the billiards room and the penthouse, and he can be an absolute nightmare. Upside down rappel on the service door with a Blackbeard shield in front of your face. Again, absolute nightmare to play against. And then we can see the defense comes in with some heavy information bans there, Fraser.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too much of a surprise to see the Maestro being banned out. Both teams dislike having that Maestro in play. Valkyrie, good operator. She's got a lot of intel, a lot of value to her. Getting rid of her, it's definitely favouring the defenders right now. Echo is in play, however, so it's going to be interesting to see whether that IQ is going to be able to take those yokai drones out before they go in for a plant.
Yeah, that's going to be an essential task for Pascal there. That's going to have to be a primary focus. We can see Luna just taking the pulse off the board there. That might be a reaction to the IQ being brought along because, of course, IQ can see the pulse scanner when active. So, again, as we've discussed, that roam game, Fraser, it makes it a little bit easier to track down Trace and pin down that pulse when he's playing downstairs, particularly, or upstairs, vice versa, wherever the site is. So that could well be a reaction to the IQ being brought along. Pascal is really going to have to keep herself involved in this one. It's going to be important that she doesn't go too aggressive on the entry, doesn't die too early in the round. As you say, coming in, getting rid of those yokai drones and potentially Mozzie pests as well is going to be a big focus because there's a lot of information gathering going on here on the defensive side. And as we know in Siege, that is absolutely paramount.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of intel being brought out here by the defenders. They've got the Mozzie, obviously, with the Mozzie Pest, but also with the Yokai and Echo. Not too much of a shock there. It's going to be curious to see whether they're going to be playing a bit more passively with the Yokais, or whether they're going to be used potentially helping with roamers out and droning out a little bit there.
So heading into the action phase then, we're 20 seconds in and seeing some very quick progress already. We've got Pigeon on the Nomad with a little upside down rappel there, just getting into the drones and again feeding that information back into her team. We've got Shadow down here on the Jaeger, just holding in office and just waiting for that angle. And this is already potentially a little miniature battle unfolding in front of us. So we've got Pigeon on the office door and we've got the Jaeger just inside there holding as well. Mia's going to be just putting out those last of the pests to try and capture any last-minute drones we see Shishka taking. That's an angle that I've not seen too much of, Fraser, until recently, but I think one person's opened it up, and now it's so popular to watch the office door through that drone hole.
I think one of the best parts about CCS Women's has been the fact that each team are learning from each other, and you see different strats being brought out by other teams being used by each other after the weeks.
So 1 minute 45 left to go. Pigeon still just working that aquarium office area. We see Meox just pop up and take Luna out. That will be a good start, a better start there as a second kill comes into Mia, and that's now going to leave us in a 5 versus 2. We've got Jaeger and Echo with it all to do. Toxicity just holding herself down at the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs there, just waiting for that opportunity. This is going to need something big from one of the defenders, one of the two remaining players here is going to have to step up and get a big 2k, 3k just to fire themselves back into this round. At the minute, Echo doesn't really have the good grace of being able to sit on those drones and deny plants. Kills are going to be essential. And in comes the first one from Toxic Kitty, but that will be traded straight out by Pascal. This is a very good round for Spies so far. Shadow gets the first that she will need. 1 versus 3 now. This is going to be a 4k clutch if she can manage this, but already down to half health. It's going to be a big ask. And down goes the diffuser. Hit by the air jab. It's all going against Shadow here. She sees one in kitchen. Will take shots. Will not get any damage. So she's got about 35 seconds left here to do something about this diffuser. And that's the first she needs. But once again, Pascal in brilliant position to trade that one out. Straight with the kill back onto the Jaeger there. Finishes things off for Spies. Round number 1. Very good attack there.
That was an absolutely dominating round there by Spies. They took top control, they took office, went in for a plant, and they secured that post-plant situation. They surrounded the diffuser both from kitchen and through luggage. That is a really good positioning there. Really well done by them. Very unfortunate for Shadow. However, she was able to pick up 2 kills there, which was well done by her.
What do you think on the looking at the attacking element of that round, Fraser? Why was it so explosive? Was there a reason, do you think, that it was so explosive at the beginning? We just saw those 2 or 3 kills come in really quickly on the entry. It was just, was that down to maybe the positioning of Spies? Did they just, was it a case of get ourselves into position and then strike at the same time, or what happened?
I mean, that was a very solid attack upstairs. They took top control very quickly within the first minute and a half, I believe. Already before the Echo even died there, both of the Yokais were down. Fantastic work by the IQ. I just think that was really good communication by them, realizing, hey, there's only 1 or 2 players upstairs. Let's take advantage of that. Let's take top control. And then as soon as that's established, pushing through down into Sunrise. It was really good work by them. And I feel like potentially Team Queen just weren't expecting that kind of aggression this early on into the game.
That's it. At this point, you've always got to take account of the fact that Team Queens have, let's be honest, had reasonably plain sailing so far. We've got to call it as we see it. They've only lost 5 rounds, 4 of which were last week. But that being said, it might lead them into games a little bit overconfident. They're not really necessarily familiar at this point with facing too much of a challenge. So when a team comes in and starts hitting them big and hitting them quick like that, it might just catch them on the back foot a little bit.
It does worry me a little bit now. We are seeing Lunar playing with a dock. 2 ACOGs on the defending team. That's very strong. Having that extra versatility for an attack, for a defense, I think that's going to be very useful for them. We are seeing Mir currently holding inside a courtyard. Interesting positioning there.
So we're going to be looking at a top floor objective this time around. Queen's choosing to switch it up after that unsuccessful defense downstairs on Blue Bar Sunrise. We're going to be heading to Hooker Billiards this time around. We can just see, interestingly there, the drone picking up that Yokai location. So for me, I think Shishka needs to think about relocating that Echo drone potentially, because it's going to be easily targeted at this stage, and we know how valuable they are. Obviously, looking at this site, we do tend to see some long angles being used. So as you correctly say there, Fraser, ACOGs being brought, no surprise to see that whatsoever. The attackers tend to like to get some aquarium control. That's your primary push. Maybe get 1 or 2 into VIP. We've got Hibana on the board, so potentially look at getting in there, opening up that line of sight from the VIP wall straight through into bar and billiards, and just cutting off all those rotations. As it is, slightly slower progress than last time around.
Yeah, I definitely think that Spies are probably trying to maintain that advantage at the minute, trying to maintain the momentum for now, realizing, hey, let's take our time here, let's kind of push it a little bit slower, double check that we're not falling into any ambushes. I think that's really smart by them. A bit too slow potentially, however, a nice kill there by Mux onto that roam from the Jaeger. Very unfortunate for the Jaeger. Wasn't able to deal too much damage to Mux.
I think you've got to look at the timing of that, though. We're still on a roam clear. We're only just picking up the Jaeger with 2 minutes wasted there, and that's the primary function of any roamer. Mia pointing out the second primary function there, which would be moving in, and if you can get a kill or 2 along the way, then that's an absolute bonus. But wasting time, so important, and even though the Jaeger's been taken out summarily, really, it's still 2 minutes off the clock, and with only 30 seconds left to go, 4 queens left on the board, this is not going to be an easy task for Spies from here, and I just get the feeling that they've got themselves into the map quickly. and then they've just lost a little bit of momentum, and they've not really been sure what to do with that map control, how to use it, how to clear those roamers, and it's leaving them with only 15 seconds left and a diffuser still to get down. We can see Toxic Kitty just looking to get a little run out there, will be hit by the air jab, and that will allow Pascal to get that kill. Luna will take one for her team though, and that will now leave us in a 3 versus 3, only 4 seconds, 3 seconds to go. A big double kill coming in from Alice, but without the diffuser in hand and without being in a position to get it down, Queens do exactly what they need to do, and that is keep one woman alive in there, and that will be all they need to win the round on time. So that's going to take us to 1 apiece.
That was an absolutely fantastic round there by Queen. I think they definitely realised, hey, let's slow down a little bit more. Let's maintain that defensive grip on site rather than spreading out a lot more, which you saw it in the first round. Instead of going for blue again, they're actually deciding to go for kitchen south entrance. Good change for them. I think that's going to be an interesting change. Generally, you would see this map being played, this site being played with the Maestro. So the fact that they don't have the Maestro there inside the service entrance, I'm curious to see what they're planning on doing here.
Yeah, I think, given the way that they were beaten on Blue Bar, I think it's reasonable to go to another site. We know that we've got 3 very viable sites here on Coastline, 4 if you have the mirror available as well. You can get yourself onto Penthouse, and you can mount a much better defense if you've got her available. So it's no surprise to see them just avoiding Blue Bar and Sunrise, because last time they weren't even really kind of close. And I think sometimes you've just got to think, you know what, maybe that's not the site for us against this team, and we'll try and pick up, our primary and secondary site elsewhere. So interesting to see that. We can see Mia here on the Mozzie, just reinforcing the theatre area. Give me a little rundown on the thought process there, Fraser. Obviously it's something that we see time and time again, teams reinforcing and defending that theatre penthouse area for other top floor or bottom floor objectives. What's going on there?
Well, generally I'd expect them to be trying to maintain as much control onto theatre for as long as possible, denying that vertical control for as long as they can before they end up having to rotate back downstairs. I mean, they do have the buck, obviously, for the soft destruction. I think it's going to be probably a VIP push, take theatre, take bedroom, and then try and push down into a server stick, I would imagine.
And as you say, if you don't clear theatre and penthouse out, you can't then start pushing on, because all you're going to do is get hit on the flanks at the top of Cool Vibes as you try to push down the stairs towards site, or as you say, out of the windows, back down through service entrance. All that vertical work you've done at the point where you try to get back onto site, you're then going to have defenders above you using that verticality against you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things that a roamer can do besides getting frags is delay time, waste time. Force the attackers to spend as much time as they can off of site to reduce the amount of time. Oh, that is very unlucky there. Mia getting a double kill onto Alice and Pigeon. Nice little spread there. Again, a reason why you do roam clearance upstairs.
Yeah, showing the value of roamers there. 2 of them just hanging in luggage and theatre area. And again, it's got to be a primary concern clearing out that area if you're going to have players there. It can be a bit of a frustration sometimes as attackers, because it's not directly linked to the objective. You're trying to push onto site, but you just cannot ignore that area, and you have to do something about it. We can see Mayuk's on the book now, just trying to open holes into Penthouse, allow herself in there to maybe fight from a slightly different angle. But this is not going to be an easy one now with 2 versus 5 in favour of Queen. We can see Shishka just using those yokai drones there to assist her fellow defenders upstairs and just, again, stun, disorientate them players and just make their task harder in the roam clearance. Novo downstairs on the kitchen window here will be joined by Miyux. So the top floor now has largely been abandoned, and the thought process here is, we've got 2 of us left. We're starting to run out of time. We don't have the manpower now to start, or should it be woman power? Who knows? We don't have the operators to clear that top floor. So we need now to just be pushing onto site.
You do have to imagine the kind of chaos that must be going in through Spies' communication right now. I mean, there's 1 player left. Lunar getting a nasty double kill even there.
Fantastic angle. Yep, fantastic angle from Luna there. Just a little run out, no problem, and then flip-flop back inside onto the window. There you go. And it's a bit of a GN, I think, that one.
I think one of the best parts about Team Queen's defense right now has been they just, as soon as they start getting pushed from one angle, they rotate around and hit from the flank. And they are really good at that. They do the double flank upstairs, obviously with the correct me who it was. Who was it? It was the Mozzie and Jaeger.
Yes, yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were fully prepared for a refrag. That was incredibly powerful by them. Really good move by them. I like that, and I would imagine we're probably going to see that again, especially with the upstairs holds if we are going up there again. I mean, we're going blue, bar, and sunrise. Not too much of a surprise. Ash being brought out as a 6-pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've commented there on working as a payer when roaming, and yep, super important. Unless you're somebody that's got like absolutely insane gun skill, like Kanto, who just goes off and does Kanto things, and will come back with a 3K and just retire back to site for the rest of the round. A lot of the time it can be very useful to work in a pair like that because, as you say, you're then able, even if you lose one of your roamers, generally the other one is able to affect that fight, get a kill, get a trade, and then even if they lose the life, you're still picking up the bodies for your roamers. So, again, filling that secondary purpose of getting kills as well.
I do really like having Bear on that Mozzie. I mean, Mozzie is such a fantastic operator. Not only does he have not only does he have intel denial, intel gathering, he's got a secondary shotgun for site reconstruction, but he's also got 2 fantastic primary weapons and a C4. Like, he's a fantastic operator, and so far he's being absolutely invaluable to the defenders.
Could not agree with you more. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he's genuinely, for my money, one of the most powerful defenders in the game at the moment. Really do. I think that whole season was good for competitive play. We've seen Gridlock come in and have a real impact on the attacking strategies as well. But again, neither of them really feel overpowered as such. Even Mozzie, with all of those attributes that you've listed there, still, he's not frustrating to play against. He is playable, but it just seems to work very well, and he's fitting as an integral part of a lot of defences. So looking back towards the game, we're on round number 4 now. 2-1 in favour of Team Queen. 2 minutes on the board and some slightly slower progress being made towards site. As you can see here, Shadow coming in with a good first kill onto Pigeon. And that was something that Queen didn't manage last time out on this site. They got hit very quickly on the break and found themselves 5 versus 2 very early into the round. But coming in this time, they've certainly got themselves set up a little better, a little more solidly. Maybe they've just settled into the game, didn't quite have the shots down today. It was the first round of the game. We can see Luna there's just taken a little bit of damage on the castle, but we'll be happy to continue to fight another day. At the end of the day, out on the roam, like we've said, it's just about trying to waste that time. Pascal and Alice coming in with a great double, though. Luna will trade one of those back out, and that now leaves us in a 3 versus 3. As we stand, Queen still pretty solid here. We've got Mia and Toxic Kitty, I believe, both down and around the site. So it's like that's still another layer of defense that needs to be dealt with. And until Luna is cleared from upstairs, it is going to be very, very dangerous for Spies to start approaching site here, and we can see that Alice is still trying to do that. Pascal will get one of the kills downstairs onto those site operators. Mia off the board. Toxic Kitty will trade that one straight back out, and that's what needs to be happening on site. We can see Ash just trying to snake her way in there to sight through that little opened up shotgun hole at the bottom of the wall there, but won't be successful as Toxic Kitty takes Alice's head off, and that will be diffuser down as well. Novo now with about 7 HP left. 2-on-1, and has got an awful big task here. Is going to need really to think about going for kills because this diffuser is going to be watched. We can see Toxic Kitty has got an absolutely disgusting angle there, but Novo manages to just creep in, gets the ninja diffuse going in to try and get the plant down now. Do they know? Yes! Luna will move in, get the kill onto Novo, and that's going to be round number 4 going to Queen.
Momentum definitely favouring Team Queen right now. They are picking up more and more rounds. Really good effort by them. Good teamwork, good coordination by them. Very unfortunate for Novo. I mean, at the end of the day, there's just 20 seconds left. Not much you can do either. Go for the frags. 7 HP. That's not really going to work out. Just try to go for a plant. Good effort. Just didn't really work out there, unfortunately.
That's it. You've got to go for something at that point. You really don't have too much of a choice. But what do we think was the big difference there? So round 1, we saw Spies come out and have a much better attacking round on that side. This time, Queen really locked it down. What did they do differently? How did they achieve that?
I would argue Spies had more of the aggression there, especially taking top floor without losing a player so early into the round. Team Queen managed to get that early frag. Definitely would have helped them there, push them into an advantage. And I just don't feel like Spies are able to clutch it out. Unfortunately, I mean, Novo is a fantastic player. We've seen her before. very aggressive player, especially when she has like a Doc or somebody with an ACOG. So her losing out there, very unfortunate. I mean, there's not much else she could have done. 7 HP. I think it's just really good positioning so far and good teamwork by Team Queen. I think they're supporting each other, they're refragging, providing intel, and I just don't think Spies is at that level at the minute.
No, I'd agree with you. I think that there is certainly an indication there that Spies can work well as a team. We've seen that in a couple of rounds. They've gone in, they've cleared roamers together. We've seen plenty of trades coming in, which is always a good identifier of the fact that they are working together and working based on intel, so they are pushing together. We can see Luna just trying to give an explosive start for Queen here, just looking to see if she can get a little spawn peek onto the ruins. A few shots go out, and she will dip away from that fight now without any joy. But I think, you know, in comparison to round number 2, where we saw Queen really defend this site very well, one thing that was a big differentiating factor between round 1 and 2 was how well Queen survived. It was really late into the round before any kills started coming down, and ultimately, I think Spies just didn't leave themselves with enough time. They maybe weren't aggressive enough on the entry. They didn't get themselves into the gunfights early enough. So they just ended up running out of time late on. I think we could do with just seeing a little bit more urgency from them.
It seems incredibly passive on the hand of Spies right now. I mean, they're 1 minute 50 left on the clock, and they're still slowly drawing in themselves. It's not really working out. And Luna are getting a nasty little kill onto Novo. Get a headshot there before Shishka gets refragged by the Habana. Very good work there. However, Echo goes down. You've lost your plant now.
That is a big loss early on, like you say. If the plant does start to come in, there's now no option to deny that directly other than getting shots onto the planter. Mia will take the head off Myox, and that will now leave us in a 4 versus 3. I've just got to drag us back to an earlier incident there, Fraser. Warning sign on the screen, sound going off in the ears. Drone still drives into Mozzie Pest. What is going on there? You can't give away your information utility that easily.
I would have to assume Pascal might have just been a bit panicked at the time. Maybe she wasn't paying as much attention because there were callouts coming out. Who knows? I mean, it's a stressful situation. Potentially that was it. Shadow getting a nice kill onto Pigeon, however. That's Habana down.
And a second one follows in, Mia onto Pascal, and that now leaves Alice with it all to do. 25 HP and a huge job on her hands. 1 versus 3. She does have Diffuser in hand. She is pushing into sight, but she won't push very far as Shadow moves in, gets the kill, and that will be round number 5 going in favour of Queen. I've got to ask questions there of Spies. I don't want to keep coming back to that Mozzie Pest, but I've got to ask the question. Not only are you losing your drone there, you're giving it to the other team, and that is very, very dangerous.
I mean, it did worry me a little bit there that we were seeing Zofia droning herself in while she was already in office. She was droning in ahead of herself. That just screams to me there's not a lot of teamwork, or there's just not a lot of cohesion there to enable another teammate to drone in for the Zofia.
That's it. Something that you want to be looking at, as you say, your entry fraggers, people like your Zofia, your Ash, you know, potentially Jackal in this case, coming in, picking up those roamers and chasing them down. Like you say, really, you want your support players either back in spawn or at least in safety with the drone 10, 15 feet ahead of them. Not too, you know, you don't want too long a leash on it. You want it just in front of them so they can react quickly to the information being given. But that can be something really important that can be built up in competitive teams. If you can get 2 players who can work well together, communicate concisely and quickly, and one can feed information to the other, just like me and X do. You've seen it, Fraser.
Don't stop me.
He's just like a heat-seeking missile for my call-outs. That's how that works. And he goes in, and you've just got that player feeding that information in constantly, and you've got your fragger going in and acting on it. That's what you want. Like you say, it's not an ideal situation to have somebody like Zofia droning herself in while drones are being given away elsewhere. That's potentially something that Spies can work on, you know, coming away from this game and maybe the season as well. You know, if they want to develop as a team, it's just building those relationships and understanding that process of information gathering.
It does absolutely terrify me. Seeing Luna spawn peeking out of a window with Doc, that is probably one of the most terrifying sights I've ever seen in this game. She's like the female Cantor Katie of this league right now. I'm
sure she'll thank you for that later as well.
I do like that Spies, they're taking their time, but I get the impression they know what they want to do here. Luna, I take back what I said. She's not necessarily counter-Katie this round. Getting taken down by Alice with a nice headshot.
Unfortunate slow peak there from Luna, just moving out too slowly there. I think it's one of those, if you're going to peek double door into Sunrise, you've really got to do it with a bit of conviction, a bit of venom. You've got to move quickly. You've got to be pre-firing. You've got to be expecting that there could be somebody in there. And Alice, absolutely nice and calm, just steps in. Pop, off goes the headshot. Myok's getting a great nade kill onto Toxic Kitty, utilising the full arsenal of Buck's utility there. But Shadow will come in and get the trade back onto that one. So that's now 4 versus 3. In favour of Spies. So we're seeing a little bit of a shift in momentum this round compared to what we've seen so far. And how about that? Novo moving across Shishka's line of sight. Shishka won't take the shot and will be punished for it with a headshot. So that now leaves us in a 4 versus 2. We've got Jaeger and Mozzie. We've seen this somewhere before, I'm sure. Just holding on, trying to do what they can on the site, trying to just stem the flow now. But from what I've seen previously of Queen, they're not at the best when the numbers advantage is not with them. So Spies, you just need to keep it calm. You've got 1 minute 10 on the board. You've got plenty of time. Think about getting in now, creating a crossfire situation so that somebody can get this diffuser down and really put Queen on the back foot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect situation right now. Try and go for a plant. Potentially could try and take control of A and then hold doorway, go for a plant. Looks like a wide peek go down by Shadow. However, that's punished from outside. Pitching good crossfire right there.
Great refrag there. Perfect trade. That's exactly what you need in this situation. You can win this round by attrition at this point. It doesn't matter if Queen come in and get a kill onto you, so long as you get the kill in return. Alice there holding the angles after the diffuser has gone down, forcing Mia to move around, maybe quicker than she would like to, not checking her angles down the corridor, and there we go. Great round for Spies there. I liked a number of things that I saw, and that was great play. Like I say, coming in there at the end, Pigeon got a great trade. That's exactly what's needed in that situation. You're 4 versus 2. If you get a kill back for everyone they get, you've won the round. It's as simple as that. What you can't let them do is start picking up kills for free. I like what I see from Spies there. Let's have more of that, please.
I kind of want to take us back to the start of that round there. Shishka 6-picking from the Echo over to the Pulse. Was very interesting. Unfortunately, Shishka wasn't really able to fully utilize the cardiac sensor or scanner, whatever it's called. But I like it. It's, adaptation. It was a good idea. It's a shame we couldn't really see it being played out to its full effectiveness.
Yeah, that's it. I think she was a bit unfortunate. She was sort of watching the kitchen window. It's an angle that does need to be checked, and unfortunately, it's one of them. To be honest, I get that every single round that I play. The second that I choose to check an angle, there's somebody moving across it, and I'm like right in the line of sight. So it's just one of those unfortunate ones. But we'll see what happens now that we're changing onto the attack. I think we're going to see a slightly different Queen here. I think they're probably going to come out quite aggressive. They're going to look to get those early picks. We've got Shishka on the Nomad. We know that she loves to get on the upside down rappel. I'm sure we're going to see that possibly on double window there, see what picks she can get. But it's going to be very important if she does that the roam game is taken care of, because there's a number of angles that come onto those sorts of areas.
Yeah, I mean, just everything about this Team Queen lineup so far screams aggression. Look at the operators they've got, look at the weapons they've got with them. Every single member of Team Queen can clutch out and get a lot of frags on their own. Put them together, put 1 or 2 fraggers right behind a drone, and that is just a winning combination right there.
Certainly is. So let's see what they can do on the attack. We're now 30 seconds into the action phase. Interesting strategy there in Aquarium. We've got a castle that's just blocking the progress into site. I like that because we know how popular an approach Aquarium is into this site. So that's good. Obviously, the Sophia is then going to be all the more important, so they're really going to have to be careful about how and where they deploy the utility, but also the operator in general. There is a rotation being played into site. I didn't see that being set up earlier, but again, it just changes the angle that they'll have to push into site. We can see Myox here just being really hounded in there. The Zafia is approaching with that lifeline, but Mia will take some damage as she tries to clear the smoke out of Aquarium. Oh no, it wasn't the smoke, sorry, it's the castle that's playing in there. More damage rains onto Myox there. We are still 5 versus 5 with 1 minute 45 to go, though I'm not sure what the roam presence is like, and I'm really not too sure about that choice from the castle there to open up that that barricade, I don't really know what that does for them. Force them wide, force them through the rotate. It's a smaller area and a tighter angle, and it's more difficult because there's no cover for the attackers to move in under. So I'm not too sure about that decision there. We can see the roam clear is still in full effect here, 1 minute 20, but we do still have some defenders downstairs that need to be taken care of.
It does worry me a little bit how many defenders are downstairs or on roam at the minute. There's not a lot of defenders on site. It could be fairly simple for the attackers. Luna getting 1 kill on Shishka, following up with a 2nd kill onto Pascal. It could be very easy for them to try and go for a plant, and it looks like they're going for a default A plant at the moment.
Yep, Toxic Kitty will move in. We can see the diffuser going down there, and it will be successful. Myox looks to move around, but the angle is covered. Shishka with a 2nd on the round, finally giving me something to shout about for her. Mia will follow with 1, and that leaves us now in a 5 versus 1. This is going to have to be an ace clutch for Novo. She's got all of her HP. She's got everything she needs. She's got a gun in her hands. It's even the Jaeger carbine, but it's going to be a big ask as she moves forward, and the air jab will propel her back from the hooker door. In moves Luna, but will lose a life on the challenge. 1 versus 4. No, I was just about to call that as 1 versus 3. I really thought Novo was going to win that gunfight, but Toxic Kitty will step in, do exactly what's needed for Team Queen, and that will be another round on the board for them. Very nice attack there.
It was looking very solid there for Spies for a solid minute and a half there. Unfortunately, I think they kind of lost it a little bit there when they allowed the attackers to push straight in, straight through Aqua, going for a plant, and then hold on through the reverse repel and double window. Very hard to kind of fight back after that when you've got multiple angles being held by the attackers. But, you know.
So, heading into round number 8 with 5-2 at this point. So, talk to me a little bit about mentality, Fraser. You're 5-2 down. You know, you're the coach. You know, you're Spies as coach. What are the players thinking? What are we saying? What do they need to do from here to try and affect this game, to try and get themselves back into it?
Well, I mean, to be honest, if I was, 2-5 down, I would probably be looking for another team to coach. I probably wouldn't be feeling so confident with us. I mean, Team Queen, they're a very strong team. We've seen them consistently week after week. They've proven that they know what they're doing. They know how they want to play, and they played their own game. I mean, last week, played against Penta Divina Victoria. I believe Penta Divina Victoria won 4 rounds against Team Queen. At the very least, I'd hope that Spies are able to match that, if not, get a few more rounds after that.
It's interesting that you talk about playing their own game there, Fraser. It's something that me and X have discussed on the last couple of casts that we've done. We cast a match the other week where we saw Navi actually beaten quite surprisingly, and that was something that we said the team who beat them, M&M Gaming, what they did was just they didn't worry about what Navi were doing. They just had a strategy, they had a plan, and they went in and they played their, as X likes to say, I will quote him because it is his line, they played their own version of Siege. They went in and they played the game they wanted to play. And as you say, Team Queen is a team that seems to be doing that. They don't really worry too much about what the other team are doing and reacting to it. They let the other team worry about reacting to them. And that can be very important. If you start dancing to another team's tune, it can be very difficult. So I'd personally be saying at this point, 2-5 down, you need to take every round just a round at a time. Don't worry about the score. Don't worry about what site comes next. Just go in with your plan for that round and see it through. Luna coming in with a great first kill onto Myox there. So that's going to put us now in a man disadvantage for Team Spies. It's not going to be easy from here. They really need to be utilising. They really need to be getting kills for every operator they lose. They can't be finding themselves at a disadvantage here. It's just going to end up very, very difficult for them if they do.
Yeah, this is really good angle being held there by Novo, doing our job as a Romo, holding on to Theatre, getting 1 kill onto Shishkar, rotating back towards the southeast staircase, still fighting that for as long as she can, delaying as much time as she can. 1 minute 30 left on the clock, now rotating downstairs. Fantastic work by Novo. This is a Novo, though, that we expect to see every week. Very aggressive, holding on to angles, getting kills, and then rotating back safely.
Novo really stepping up for a team there. Like you say, that's exactly what they need. If the next kill goes in favour of Team Queen, you're 5 versus 3, and the round starts slipping away from you very quickly. So that is, you need those players on your team that when things get tough, you're looking at going on to match point here. The last thing you want is to be 5-3 down. Novo steps up, says, not today. gets a great kill onto Shishka, and that now leaves them in a 4 versus 4. 50 seconds on the clock, and time management starts to become a real factor here, as does operator management. Alice moves in and gets a headshot onto Luna, so now all of a sudden Spies are in a big man advantage, and this is what we've seen from Spies. When they get themselves ahead, they push forward, forward, forward. They don't stop, they don't slow down, and that is what they need. So for me, as a team, that's one thing for them to develop, is how do they play when they're at that numbers disadvantage. But Pascal right now with a great angle up onto Shadow, showing that those verticals work in both directions. Will use the hatch to full advantage and gets that kill now, leaving Toxic Kitty in a 1 versus 4. She has it all to do. She'll get the first onto Novo. She's got about 70 HP left. She's only got 9 seconds. This is just going to be too big for her, surely. She can't move through the Toxic Wave canisters. They've been saved to the perfect time. She needs to get into sight, but as she pushes, Alice will get the final kill, and that's another round going in favour of Spies, and they are showing they're certainly here to play.
Yeah, I mean, talking about playing your own game there, Spies bringing it back, playing a lot more aggressively, and that was fantastic roam play by then. They're able to delay a lot of time upstairs. They got frags, and more importantly, they're able to pull back downstairs. They weren't too aggressive. They weren't overextending themselves. They want Team Queen weren't really able to apply as much vertical pressure as you'd hope. And yeah, fantastic play by them. Really good work to Novo specifically there. Really good work by her.
Like I said, I just felt, as we were discussing, they had the game plan and they just stuck to it. Even when they lost a player, they didn't panic. They just kept their angles. Novo was out there on the roam, as we've said, did a great job. Exactly what a team needed to level things up at that point in time. And like I said, this is a feeling I'm really getting about Spies. If they can get 1 or 2 kills quickly, if they can get themselves where they feel like they've got that advantage, they really do play on it, and it's like you start to see a different team. And what I think they need to try and develop, what I'd like to see from them, is just carrying that confidence, that swagger a little bit more all the time, rather than just when they've got those 1 or 2 kills. If they can start applying that to the game, I'm not saying that they play scared necessarily, but they can be a little bit tentative sometimes, especially if they're a player down. Sometimes it just slows down a little bit, and then they lose that next one, and all of a sudden it's an even bigger hill to climb. But when they get themselves ahead, they really do push forward, and I like to see that. 5-3 now, taking each one, each round at a time. They're only 2 rounds behind now. So you start thinking, hang on, this might just be doable here.
Yeah, I mean,
2 more rounds, we're level.
When you look at it right now, I mean, Spies moving back over to a site they haven't necessarily felt as comfortable. If they swapped over from the castle, they're no longer holding on to Aqua as much. They've realised, hey, this wasn't really working out too much. Swapping things up, trying out new things, and hopefully it's going to work out for them now. Novo missing the headshot there, but still very good push.
She was definitely keen. She knew that it'd be the upside rappel from Shishka, didn't she? And she was keen to challenge it, but we all know what a tough angle it can be due to the lines of sight. We've got Shishka again just holding tight on that angle. She's now going to throw in the flash and rappel in behind it. Just a slight spectator bug we get there as she rappels in upside down, but that's going to force Novo back down to sight. We can confirm Shishka is not playing upside down. She has moved back onto her feet. She's going to be heading through that top floor and just looking to clear out any other players that are out on the roam. But Myox with a great shot. I didn't know where that one had come from, but Mia will trade that one straight back out now, leaving us 4 versus 4. Shadow with a kill onto Alice, and that will be the vigil off the board. That could be a big one. That's a lot of the roam game gone, a lot of the uncertainty. We can see numbers now for Queen pushing towards luggage, but have they dealt with everybody? Pigeon is going to move out towards main lobby and potentially, she's just going to hold herself at the top of Cool Vibes there. I'd like to maybe see that Legion get aggressive, head downstairs, through the main lobby, up the other stairs, and maybe just try and get on the flank. It's not going to be easy at this point because there's no doubt going to be air jabs in place, but if you can find those and take them out, you could have an absolute field day moving in through luggage here.
Yeah, I mean, Team Queen, they're a team known for going from 0 to hero, getting that momentum very, very quickly. It's very easy for them to make that execute. Nice little shot going onto Pigeon there, half health, and down by Shishka on the reversal pale Batman style. The Legion holding the angle whilst Toxic Kitty goes for the plant.
Well, it wouldn't be a Queen game if Shishka didn't get at least one kill off the upside down rappel, and that will be a second for her onto Novo. She'll finally be cleared off by Pascal, but not until it is too late in the round. The damage has been done, the diffuser down, and then Toxic Kitty moves in and gets that final kill onto Pascal to finish things off for Queen. Much better attack from them there. I get the feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, Fraser, I'd like...
Yep.
Interesting your opinion on this. I feel like Spies are just over peaking a little bit. We saw the Echo challenging from inside, moving out from behind the bomb, taking some damage, then peeking double window, dying to Shishka. Just peeking when they don't really need to because the push isn't coming at that point.
I mean, I would kind of question whether is that Spies overpeaking things, or is that Team Queen having so many angles covered? Like, I mean, the Echo there was covering at least 3 different angles as far as I'm aware. She was covering double window, she was covering from Aqua, and possibly even from the main hallway into VIP. I mean, that's a lot of places you can look, and yeah, I mean, I would question as well, how did Team Queen get in position for that default plant on A so quickly? That was a really fast execute by them. They held on to the angles, held on to the line of sight, and I felt like it was over as soon as Toxic got that plant down.
Yeah, I think they took Novo and Alice out quite quickly. They got them cleared off the roam, and as we saw, that allowed them to push in serious numbers towards luggage. Then we saw, I think, 4 of them all running at once through luggage into Aquarium, and as you say, they just got the setup then for the standard plant, and it was just a case of picking people off as they rotated. But it's just something I'd be aware of if I was Spies. I'd just be having a look back at that footage and thinking, you know, do I really need to be peeking 3 in Aquarium from behind bomb? How much am I really going to affect that situation, especially as the Echo? Because I'll tell you now, the much bigger effect that you can have on that situation is waiting for your Yokai drone to be able to disrupt the plant and keeping yourself alive. So something to consider, I'm sure. Mute there, Novo, just looking to get a peek down onto the ruins. It's the oldest peak in the book here on Coastline, and it will do some damage to Mia. So that's 25 off the Sophia, and every little helps. We are 30 seconds into the round, but we're seeing again good quick progress towards the map from Queen. They're absolutely not messing about. We can see Pascal on the Legion just dropping up and down on a semi-roam on that Cool Vibes and Sunrise area. I'm sure they're going to be conscious of Shishka on the upside down rappel. I think it was 3 kills for her from that position in the last round, so I'm sure they're going to want somebody around that area who can affect that if it comes along again.
You know, I think it's important to note that the mirror there still has one of her black mirrors in her herself. Like she's only put one down. Curious to see whether she's planning on saving that for later, or whether she just ran out of time.
Yeah, possibly ran out of time, or it might just not be part of the setup for this site. You know, it's fair to say those black mirrors can be extremely damaging if put in the wrong place. Pigeon holding an angle beautifully there, waiting for Shishka to move through, who... I don't know whether the drone information wasn't there. I don't know what's created that situation, but completely unaware of Pigeon there, just hiding out behind those luggage boxes, and the kill will come in, but that will be traded back out. Pigeon getting a second, however, a third onto Shadow now before being traded out by Shadow herself. So that will now leave us in a 3 versus 2. But how about that for some great work from Pigeon? 3 kills without moving her feet, and Spies really putting themselves back into this game. If they can get this round, take themselves onto 6-4, they really do start making a statement that they're in it to play. Maybe they can be the team that takes more than 4 rounds off Queen here. Maybe they can push them all the way to 6-6.
Incredibly cheeky play so far by Spies. I really like this. I wonder whether Alice is going to peek that, where she's going to try and play as passive as she can, holding on to VIP. Toxic Kitty, not quite sure what she wants to do, pushing away towards luggage, trying to link up with Zofia. Not a bad call.
Mia now just peeking the angle from Aquarium. We've seen this before. We've seen the setup moving in there. The diffuser is in hand. It's not going to be easy with only 2 of them to get in. They're very conscious of what's going on behind them, but they are able to keep taking out that Legion utility. Toxic Kitty looking to move in here. There's no Echo on the board, so there's no way of denying this plant. There's only mute Legion. There's no smoke, so we see Toxic Kitty now move in to try and get that plant. It's all going to be down to Mia to keep her planter safe. She gets the first kill onto Pascal, puts damage onto the mute, and that will allow Toxic Kitty. That is an absolute masterclass in how to get a plant down with a 2-operator disadvantage. Mia and Toxic Kitty, without losing the life, get it down, and it's now all for Alice to do on the Mozzie. She does have full HP. She doesn't know which way to go. Does she push through luggage or does she push through sight? She's going to move towards luggage, but the angle is being watched. I think it's Toxic Kitty on the IQ, and as she moves through, the kill will come in, and that will be all she wrote. Toxic Kitty with the final kill onto Alice. Great game all round. I really enjoyed that one. I think the result is fair. I think Team Queen did show us a little bit more there throughout the game, but what a great performance from Spies, taking nothing away from them.
That was a classic example of teamwork. Exactly as you've said before, Pyrite. It's respect your planters. All right. Toxicated getting the plant down. Mia covering that. Even though she's on the bare minimum of health, she still covers that angle. Fantastic teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Like I say, that is a great example of how to get the diffuser down in a difficult situation where you've got a numbers disadvantage. All angles covered, well played. I think the only thing the defenders could maybe do there, they know that they've got a spare operator. It's maybe start trying to hassle from luggage so that Mia can't hold those angles. But that's, hindsight's 2020, and it's easy for me to be that critical sat here. But that's, I think, the only other thing you could have done there.
I mean, yeah, I have to admit there was a bit of a lack of vertical control played by both teams. I mean, both teams did bring the buck. However, I don't really feel like he was used as much as he potentially could have been. We saw a fair bit of it inside a bedroom with the IQ when they're defending downstairs in kitchen. But other than that, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like throughout a lot of that map, there often wasn't complete map control gained. I didn't see many rounds where the defenders were completely sort of restricted to sight. Like you say, I didn't see much opportunity where there was just complete comfortable top floor control. Let's get the book in, let's get the sledge in, and just open things up. I didn't really see too much of that.
I think there was a lot of the time there, the roam clearance wasn't really sufficient, and there was always potential for the defenders to roam up, whether it be through light southeast staircase, whilst the attackers are all focused on hooker billiards, or vice versa. I think that was definitely an advantage for the defenders throughout the entire game, regardless of who it was.
I'd agree.
Yeah, fantastic match. Now, obviously the two top teams going against Spies by no means played poorly. If you look at their stat lines, they had some great stats across the board. But was this an instance of Team Queen just taking over, doing what they do? And Ace, you mentioned it over and over, but it can't be stressed enough. The sight lines that they had, the crossfire, it almost seemed like no matter how well Spies played, they just couldn't be good enough, because if they got a frag, they'd just be refragged right away. Is that goes to show, and is it maybe a coastline specific, the crossfire, the sight lines, how important it is to have those locked down?
I don't think it is coastline specific. I think it's more team specific. If you look at Team Queen, they're a team that have been playing together for quite a long time now. I think they've been together about 12, 18 months since I saw them forming up. They're very familiar with each other's play styles. They know what each other's going to do. They've got, a lot of time on the board, and that is something that only comes with time. That, like you say, you're pushing in together, you're working as pairs, you're playing back to back. If one gets killed, it gets picked up, it gets traded. So whilst that might not be in a physical sense that you're playing back to back, they still know that pushing through luggage. I know I've got somebody on roof who's watching who will refrag me if I die. It's that sort of situation. Yeah, Coastline does support that a little bit as a map, because it's very open on the top floor. You can get, if the walls are opened up particularly, you can start getting angles from one side of the map to the other generally. So yes, that does assist a little bit. But I think, to be honest, we'd probably see very similar from Queen on many different maps, because they are just holding angles for each other, and they're making sure that rappel is in place before I push into this area. And so, that's just a really basic example of how that system works. But I need this player in place before I can do X, Y, or Z. And that's, they're very good at carrying out those steps in the right order, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the line of sight is always in place to get that trade.
Now, quick question for you before we flip it over here to break. Fraser, this very well might be the final match that we see down the road when the tournament comes around, or when the finals come around, Spies versus Queen. What can Spies take away, or what do they need to take away from this to move forward, knowing that this might be the team that they see at the very end, and what will they need to do to beat them?
I'd say that Spies definitely seem more confident on the defense. Potentially, they need to work a bit more on their droning. I think they need to definitely focus on having that drone capacity where you'll have one person droning for one fragger or two fraggers, make sure they're pushing together, get the refrags, get the crossfires established, and then go for a plan. I don't believe we really saw too much plan action going down by spies. I feel like potentially just need to work on that and take this as a very good learning experience. Move on.
Mhm. Definitely. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if this is the final matchup that we see. But once again, just recapping, that was a 7-3 victory by Team Queen over Spies. Stick around. We'll go to a quick 5-minute break. And when we come back, we'll have Hellside versus Endpoint. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.